void that needs to be filled. That's true in any moment of life. Anytime we have to wait, even think of the weight and the nervousness when a player departs. You mentioned earlier all the front court departures. Right, we're concerned. Is Armando Bacot going to stay, or are they going to be able to bring in a transfer or a freshman who can fill some of that void? What is that all going to look like? And so take that nervousness about just the player personnel and magnify that several times, because this is the person that is in charge of all those people. And so we're in store for some nervous times. I think that's what a lot of people can wait on. It was different with Coach Smith, again, because of the timing. There's like, okay, we're obviously going to do this quickly.
Yeah.
And I know Bubba Cunningham said that yesterday. We got to move because we can't allow the transfer portal to continue to run its course without somebody. We got to get somebody in place. And so I think there is that we're in store for, is that hopefully it will be a short time, and that's good news. But the other thing is, even once the decision is announced, then you have to wait until November and December to see if it works out.
Yeah.
And so it's not just the awaiting the decision, it's awaiting the on-court product of what are we going to get? Are we going to be successful? Are we going to be successful immediately, or 3 or 4 years down the road? What does this all look like? And so, but there's also hope and optimism. Obviously, there's mourning right now. People are literally grieving Coach Williams as if somebody had died. And I get that, and it's understandable. But within the days and weeks, there does become hope and optimism that it can be somebody that Carolina can wrap their arms around and embrace.
You know, Bubba made it pretty evident last night. They're going to move quickly. They have no choice but to move quickly. But comes with it, you know, this job doesn't come open very often. It's only the 5th time in 60 years this job has become available. That's not normal in today's college athletics, and it comes with it a lot of tradition, a lot of expectation, a lot of legacy you've got to uphold. With all that said and done, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. Who do you think will be the head coach for the Tar Heels when that season tips off later this year?
Man, it's a great question. First, if I can, let me start off with who I don't think it will be.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be one of these outsiders. I know we talked about that. I think there are, I'll say, sexy enough candidates within the Carolina family that I think you have to make the call, right? You have to make Mark Few say no.
Right. I agree with that.
Those kind of things, right? You know, like, one of my mantras in life is all they can do is say no. And I'm not going to answer no for Mark Few. I know the respect Coach Williams has for him, people like Jay Wright and things like that. So they're going to make those calls. I don't think it will ultimately be somebody of that nature. And then within the family, I don't think Jerry Stackhouse is ready for it. Obviously, he's going to be on the list, but we've seen some on-court struggles for him at Vanderbilt.
Yes.
And frankly, some off-court struggles too, some getting into things with fans on social media. Yes. I don't think at this point in his career, that's the person that the University of Carolina wants as the face of their program. I love Jerry Stackhouse, thankful for what he has done for the university, and I know that he's a great coach. I just don't think that kind of temperament is what Carolina needs right now. All that to say, I think it comes down to the two men that everyone has imagined it would come down to for the last several years now, and that's Hubert Davis and Wes Miller. I know that's like, duh, okay, that's what everybody's saying, but it's for a reason. And so, man, I very honestly go back and forth on these guys. Let me make the case for both of them. Hubert Davis, 50 years old, a little bit more life experience. If he coaches as long as Coach Williams does, till 70, that's still 20 years, right? Which is longer than Coach Williams. Obviously, he has the integrity that Coach Williams has, does things right. He's a great man. Just like Mac Brown, he has experience at ESPN, so he understands the media side of things, what athletes are looking for, and that in itself carries some cachet. Obviously, he's got the NBA cachet and career, similar to what a lot of other national programs are doing right now. It's been successful in some places. Michigan, Juwan Howard, Memphis Penny seems to be doing a pretty good job. I know they didn't make the tournament this year, but they won the NIT.
Right.
But it's also not been successful everywhere. St. John's with Chris Nolan didn't go well.
Yeah.
But obviously that NBA cachet would be a big win on the recruiting trail. But the other thing all of those coaches don't have in common is D1 head coaching experience, which is also true of Hubert. He's been on the bench for the better part of a decade now, and so he's seen a lot of that. But, Mr. Josh Marlowe, what head coaching experience does Hubert Davis have? The JV team.
Right.
Who else had experience coaching the JV team at North Carolina before their very first high-level Division I coaching job?
Roy Williams.
Roy Allen Williams. Darn right he did. And I think things turned out pretty well for him at Kansas.
Yeah.
So I say that to say I know there's a lot of talk from Bubba Cunningham about head coaching experience, but he also left room that it doesn't have to be there. And Roy Williams knows what Roy Williams went through, and as we've already said, he has a lot of opinion about what it'll be and who it'll be. And so I think Hubert, he knows that he was successful, and I think he knows that Hubert can be successful as well. Now, I can also make a very strong case for Wes Miller. He does have the head coaching experience at the Division I level. Has been first 5 years were a bit of a struggle there at UNC Greensboro, but these past 5 years have been hugely successful. A couple NCAA tournament appearances. However, we recognize it's not a high major program. A lot of people thought perhaps that he was the coach in waiting, but that he needed a couple of years at a Power 5 conference school. He almost got the job at Vandy last year. And I think a lot of people thought Coach Williams would have more years before he retired, would allow Wes to maybe have that, and then slide over to Chapel Hill. Similar to Hubert, he's a great man. You know, people trust him. He's been a player on the program, obviously successful. And another, probably even stronger thing for him is he's only 38.
Yeah.
12 years younger than Hubert Davis. If he comes in and he's successful, that could be your next head coach for the next 3 decades. And because you're not going from Carolina to anywhere if you're successful. And anything else is a slide over or down. You can't go up unless it's NBA or something like that. And even then, that's debatable.
Yes.
So I think both of these men, and I'm sure there's more things we could say about both of them, but you see, I feel like I feel like it's close your eyes and pick a fist. Honestly, I think we're going to be successful either way. If you promote Hubert Davis, he probably keeps a lot of the same assistant coaches in place because that's who he's worked with. If you bring in Wes Miller, does he want to bring people with him from Greensboro, or does he want to keep the same staff? That's a big question that would need to be answered, and I'm sure Bubba will ask some of those things. So, end of the day, when it comes down to it, I think they pick Hubert Davis.
Okay.
But, as I've said, because if you're asking me to make a call, that's the call I'm going to make.
Right.
But I could just as easily wake up a few days from now and hear that Wes Miller is the next head coach of North Carolina, and that would be awesome, and I think he'd be successful. But I think it's going to be one of those two men.
Yeah, the one thing I've taken away from our conversation this time is that I'm a lot more trusting of Bubba Cunningham than maybe I was last night when he first talked to the media, because we can't imagine the amount of stress he's feeling right now as he's trying to make this decision. And to some degree, the fact that they're doing this without a search committee. It's just him and the chancellor with the input, and I imagine the blessing of Roy Williams, I guess, should make us that much more confident that he's the right guy to pick the next guy. Kind of like Dick Bedore was when he brought Roy Williams home. Bubba Cunningham has set himself up to be the guy that is worthy enough to make this decision. Isaac, man, this is I've had you on a couple times. This has been a blast. I hated it had to come under such circumstances with Roy Williams retiring, but we got through this without crying, and that's a step in the right direction. Before I get you out, I always like to give you a chance to promote your work. So where can Tar Heel fans find all your great Tar Heel content?
For sure. On Twitter at Isaac Schade, just my name, 1 S, 2 A's. Schade has a C in it. It's a dumb German word, but whatever. Or you can find me on my actual writing on Sports Illustrated, si.com/college/UNC. Would love for you to check it out. Josh, I'm so grateful for your time. Thanks for all the great work you do, brother.
All right, man. I'll talk to you down the line, sir.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
All right.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, you too. There you go, guys. That's Isaac Schade, a guy that's becoming a very regular guest here on the Roy's Boys podcast. And whenever I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the podcast, I've always said that when the time came that Roy Williams retired, I would rename, rebrand, and start over. But who knows what the future holds. But nonetheless, Isaac Schade will be a part of that. So make sure you get over to Sports Illustrated and check out all of his great content about Carolina athletics. And before we get you out of here, guys, I want to get you to the website, HeelToughBlog.com. It's been a whirlwind of the last 24 hours. So I had you covered yesterday with the announcement of Roy Williams' retirement. And then I had an article up about where Bubba Cunningham is going to go in terms of with the search underway. So you can check out both those articles on HeelToughBlog.com. We'll also have you covered football and baseball-wise, but right now, until the dust settles, our focus will be basketball heavy for the foreseeable future. Lastly, we encourage you guys to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. You can find us on every major podcasting platform. Give us a like, review me as the host, review Anthony Williams co-host, and review my guests when I have them on. We want you guys to subscribe. That way you get every episode in your podcast library. Well, with that, I do want to thank Isaac for coming on to talk a little Carolina basketball once again. We want to thank you guys for listening, and as always, go Tar Heels.